do this little video here and put it over there on the old Rimfire Central. Some of you beginners may be watching these videos where I'm shooting these squirrels using that trigger cam. You may notice those sharpshooters aiming high on them heads, or sometimes he's just a little over the head on them squirrels, and you may be like, what's he doing that for? Well, that scope center is 1.75 above the center of my bow. That's a 50mm objective. Now, it's mounted down tight on that barrel. There's not much space between the bell of that scope and the barrel on that CZ rifle. So those shots that you're seeing, if that squirrel was 10 yards farther away from me, you wouldn't see me sighting that squirrel like you're seeing in those videos. So if you've got a 22 long rifle and you're using a 40mm objective and you can get it down close to your barrel, you wouldn't have to do what the sharpshooters doing on them shots using it, or even a 17 HM2. So if you ever seen me raise that barrel up, and you've seen me shoot some squirrels 50+ yards in some of them videos, where's the crosshairs? They're center. I don't hold high. Because the bullet, the way the trajectory works, it's come up on line of sight, meaning it's come up on the crosshair. All right? Now, something else I'll say here and leaves off, this may tell you something, because I'm going to be calling off ranges. And of course, some people may say, oh, the sharpshooter's full of shit. Well, guess what? Guess what? When you see me using that Arkin and that damn Element Nexus first focal plane scope, there's no way I can cheat. Really? Why is that? The Element Nexus scope's what I've been using thus far with the trigger cam, shooting the squirrels with a 17 HM2. Well, guess what? That cross from top to bottom, when you see it illuminated, that's 2 MOA. 2 MOA. Okay? That's what it is. So about 2 inches at 100 yards. So when you see me shooting at a squirrel with that gun at 100 yards, if I call it out in the laser, that crosshair is going to be inside that squirrel's head. Probably. The edges of it. Okay? Because, see, I can't cheat that way. The reticle subtension for what it displaces for MOA stays the same no matter what the magnification is. Even though the size of it may change, it may look smaller in that trigger cam. But the squirrel will look smaller too. If it looks bigger, the squirrel will look bigger. The head will look bigger. Alright? That Arkin, it has a dot, but it has the reticle around it. It has the lines that starts around it. That shows you what, I'll talk about it more when I start using it, okay? I may do a video and show it over here on a target at 50 yards with 1-inch squares so you can see it. Okay. So yeah, these, when you're using a scoped rifle, you beginners, the shots that will be, believe it or not, the most difficult for you a lot of times as a beginner will be those close shots. Those 5 and 10 and 15 yarders. Those are the ones that you'll shoot the jawbone off a squirrel or graze the bottom of his chin or miss under him and he'll run off on your ass. How many of you think run off on sharpshooter's ass back when he first started using rifle scopes back around 1985? Well, quite a few. Put your cardboard box up, Shoot your gun after you get it zeroed for what distance you want it zeroed for, and then back the box up. Shoot it at 10 yards, shoot it at 15, shoot it at 20, shoot it at 5, and see what you need to do to stay on that squirrel head, or stay on the squirrel. And of course, you know, you need to also know, if you're using a 22 long rifle, what do you need to do when you get out past your sight in range? Wonder if the squirrel is 10 yards plus where you've got the rifle sighted. You know, a 50-yard shot in the woods with a 22 long rifle, with a 40-yard zero, you got to do something. You can't just aim straight at him. If he's stretched out on a limb, you can't aim straight at him. You might touch him, you might graze him, you might miss him. You shoot under him. So move your box out past your zero range, 5 yards and 10 yards, and see what happens. Your scope height above your barrel, center of your scope above the center of your barrel will drive this. Okay? Will drive what happens for what I'm talking about in this video. I like them lower mounted, but remember, my 50mm objective, it's big anyway. Even mounted low, the center of the scope is still quite a ways above the center of the bore. If that was a 40mm objective, it wouldn't be near as high. And I've used that a lot in the recent years, shooting shoots at squirrels, and shoots rifles. I used to shoot them a lot. I still got one, it just never gets used much. It's turned into sort of like a doorstop. I just don't enjoy it in them squirrel woods like I like that HM2. That's going to conclude the video. Be safe out there.